substance painter. So we'll go with the little workflow that I did for these ones. I did uh, the first layer I just kind of left on there. It just doesn't do anything. Um, but once I, this is the initial texture. This is the one I made in Substance Designer. I changed it to a little bit of a blue, and then when you turn the noise tiling up, you can really see it. But for the ice coverage, I just wanted it really icy as it's gonna be icicles. I didn't have anything to make it clear and invisible, so it's gonna be this more of an opaque. There was an option to put in there for what is it, translucence, which allows the light to be shown through it. Um, but I didn't know how it's gonna work in the Unreal Engine. But if you turn the height down, it gives it more of a bumpy, grainy look. But as we're not going to be seeing it too far, they're going to be up on the roof. I did a few other things. So this was like the edge of the frost. Just real subtle. Then there's another color, just because I know it's as like icicles are going to be forming, it's going to be picking up different materials. So this is this very subtle blue. And then for try to give it another effect of these drips coming down. And then so from the distance, this is hopefully what we'll be able to see in Unreal Engine when we plug it in. And for the rock, did a few different samples for the rock, just because as the rock is kind of shaped in this fashion, we can make it be shown in a few different angles. So when I was messing with these levels for the snow, this is just covering up for the top, but as you can see, we're going to use this from all different angles. So I actually downloaded the textures in 3 different ways with using different ways of letting the ice kind of come all the way down. So when we bring it into Unreal Engine, it'll have different versions of the rock, so it doesn't all look the same. With playing around with them to figure out which one I had. So this one is just like the rock, but the ice was falling in like the lower parts of the rock. You can do it with this top-down gradient. It covers up the whole thing pretty much. But for this one again, I used the same rock material that I made in Substance Designer, and then I was just messing around with some of the detail, adding this blue color to whatever I could. Or it does it more on the surface detail. The more you increase the surface detail, the more it'll increase like the color as well. It's more of the pitting that ends up happening on the rock. Um, some of the surface depth, when you turn it all the way up, you can see like the different colors of the rock. I don't know how well this is going to show up on Unreal Engine whenever we get to that part. The simple variation is just adding uh, more edges to that initial shape I made. So it can kind of give it some more distortion on the rock too. And then the roughness will just make it as matte as possible or as shiny as possible, kind of look like a wet rock, like it would be in a cave. And then I added that snow texture I made, dark mask, and then I added a generator, which was this mask builder. And then when I go into the mask builder, that's how I was able to add the different levels of ice that ends up accumulating on it. I just say different versions of it just to see how it's gonna look in the engine. For the mushroom, I was just playing around with the emissive textures. Once you add it into the texture set settings for this one, it'll let you start all the way at the bottom of our brush settings. You can play with the emissions. Upper light cab, under light cab. So for this one, am I not clicking on it? A second, let me see. Don't know if I'm on the right one then. But the emissive, you can change the color on it. I was playing around with some of the different brush options. So when we go to here, there's a bunch of different, what are they, alphas? Or no, they were the brushes. Brushes. And there's some of these like that generate different effects on them. I don't think I even went to the very high. This veins one, as soon as you click on somewhere, it kind of starts growing into different variations of the veins, and I like that rather than the straight veins that you'd see on a normal, the undercap of a mushroom. Just gave it some more fantasy kind of look for the cave. And then for the, I use the splatters, the spots. That would be the emissive texture for the mushroom. I think the original uh, part of it is this, yeah, a damaged leather. So that the original model with the UV showing, there's this damaged leather. Then there's this grunge level that went on there. I just took the color off just because it was kind of, I don't know, just I didn't really want to have the effect of it. I think it looks more of, if it shows, it lets me do it. Oh, this is, here we go. Turn the opacity up. Yeah, it's like a tree bark. Turn that part down, and then um, added the little veins for the underglow lights with the emissive, and then the uppercut lights was the splatter, and then uh, the stem. I just kind of added like a painted blue with I know it has a texture. Probably not gonna get that close to it in the game, but just this underglow kind of like reflecting off of the stem itself, and then some grain on the mushroom. You probably still won't see that. And then where's the undercap light? Turn that one off. And you can see like the fuzzies that would be on the underside of a mushroom, just to try to give it some more variation. And for the walls, I think I'm gonna use this for either separation on the cave or like maybe it'll be the terrain on the ground that we actually walk on. For this one, it was just the rock material, messed around with some of the parameters that I created here. It doesn't have any kind of glow or anything, it's just a little bit shiny. And then I added on the snow with that mask, with the mask builder. Mess with the settings until I can get it to where it's kind of given the ice is like taking over the rock, but it's not fully engulfed in it, just so you can see some of the details. When you do, it doesn't look bad when it's all iced over. I was just trying to give it some look to where the rock was still peeking through a little bit. This is the second wall. This will just be some variation, I guess, in the cave walls. This is the one where there's going to be several ice chunks cracking through here. Maybe some melted and refrozen settings coming through, like kind of like stalactites forming on this. This will be the same rock layer, snow with a mass builder generator on it. Played around with the settings just so the ice isn't completely taking over the rock. These will be one of the separation pillars for that wall. Just to give you an example, it's just going to be a chunk of ice. There's going to be, I think, like 5 or 6 of them going through that wall. So it's going to be for the top of the wall. This is where the icicles will be coming through, like the little bumpy areas. This is going to be for like the ceiling. I guess not the top of the wall. The ceiling is the placement of that. For this one, I did the same workflow as the other ones, but since it's going to be like the roof and I guess like water and dirt's going to be dripping down on it, I also added a kind of different color, a lighter color, just to get some variation. Maybe that's what the icicles are soaking up to change their color, more minerals. And that's all the textures I made for the Unreal Engine. And then I'm going to put together a cave and we'll see how that looks. Thank you very much.